Hi, I'm Dan, and this is my 1983 VH Vacationer Commodore.
Introducing the new limited edition Holden Commodore Vacationer with 6-cylinder power, air conditioning, power steering, twin cloth seats, plug-in roof rack.
So I bought this car about a year and a half ago off a fella out of Denali above Maryborough. Drove up there, had a look at it. It's a fairly straight sort of car at the time. A little bit of rust which I've repaired since. Pretty much looks like a granddad spec sort of Commodore. Pretty untouched on the outside, and that's the way I like it. So I built the motor that's in this car before I bought the car. The motor was originally from a family friend of ours. It had been sitting on a shelf in one of his hay sheds for about 6 years. Looked pretty rough on the outside, didn't think there was much to it. Just wanted a motor to tear down, rebuild. First large motor I ever rebuilt. So tore it down, turned out had some pretty good internals in it, had been rebuilt in somewhere in the 90s. As it is now, it's got a fully balanced bottom end, it's got flat top pistons, it's got a yellow Terra Stage 3 head, it's got a Crow XU1 spec cam, Holly 350 on a custom intake manifold, and a set of Genie extractors.
Right? Yep.
So I took the original motor out of this car because it was getting fairly run down. So I thought while I had the motor out, me and a mate resprayed the engine bay. I did all the prep work. He come in and give me a hand painting it. Sprayed the underside of the bonnet right down to the tunnel in the engine bay. Behind the motor, I've got a fully rebuilt chromatic gearbox, which is fully manualized. It's got an SDE 3000 RPM torque converter in it, which is just a recent addition. Made a huge improvement to the acceleration of the car. So inside the car, I tried to keep everything fairly stock looking. If you looked in through this car, there wouldn't be anything you'd notice that'd be out of the ordinary unless you really knew what you were looking at. All I've done is covers on the seats, the floors, the dash. It's got an SLE dash in it just because I wanted the oil pressure and volt gauge being the worked motor I've got in it. Other than that, I've managed to put some additional things in the car and use factory switches in the dash here. So again, if you didn't know what you were looking at, you wouldn't be able to tell they were aftermarket. Other than that, it's a fairly stock interior. Because it's got a fully manualized gearbox in it, I didn't want to change the interior and run, I know a lot of people run a B&M ratchet shifter or something through the floor. I didn't want it to be obvious, wanted to keep the car stock looking. So what I've done is modified the shift pattern in the factory shifter. So you can change down to first, second, and third is what would have originally been drive. Other than that, you can bump down to second, ratchet for first. Lockout for first, lockout for neutral, still got a lockout for reverse and park. Basically everything I wanted, and it retains a stock look. Okay guys, I've got a bimodal exhaust system on this car. The way it works is it either runs through the standard system, which is 2 mufflers, runs very quiet, basically sounds like a stock Commodore, running a bit rough, or with the flick of a switch it runs a straight dump off the back of the extractors, 2.5 inch, full noise. Sounds really good.
Loud, go loud, go loud.
Do the button. She loved it.
She loved it.
Okay guys, so the only rust that this car really had in it was in this rear panel here between the rear windscreen and the boot. Really common place to go. The water gets in under the rear window seal, sits there, rusts through. Luckily Rare Spares do a replacement panel for it, so I was able to get one of them, and with the help of a mate, we took that out one weekend, replaced it with the Rare Spares replacement panel, and resprayed the back section of the car here. So my favourite part about this car, probably the exhaust note, cruising along with all your mates in the car. Really good fun car for a really low budget. It's been to Canberra once, it's going to go again in about a week or so for summer nats. yeah, a lot of fun for not a lot of money.